Could I have a moment of silence in remembrance of 9/11, please? Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting held on August 14th, 2018. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, discuss garbage contract. Pat, you want to?
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Junker. As we've been talking about for the past few months, our garbage contract will be up in September of 2019. And what we've been doing is looking at some different options, whether we possibly extend the current contract or go out to RFP, or bid of collection services. We've solicited some input, and we've got unsolicited input from citizens and just other members of the village as it relates to some of the services like electronic recycling, Christmas tree recycling, including condos and townhome associations, and then also senior citizen and disabled veteran discounts. So those are some of the different things that we've been looking at with the contract. And as I said, it's a year out, so it gives us some time and some flexibility to look at the different, different options out there.
Okay. Should we report back and come back to the next committee meeting on that then?
Yeah, next committee meeting within the next 30, 60 days, we'll come in and let you know what we initially find out. We'll talk to New Way, and then also we're going to look at the different RFPs that have been put out there in neighboring villages and towns, and see what they look like. I've been working with Pat Conley here. He's given some examples of RFPs. So we'll put all the options out there, and we'll come back and see what we get.
And did you get the recommendations for an environmental commission? They had a couple recommendations also. Make sure you get those too, so we can go forward with the recycling for
Absolutely.
that. Okay, number 4, receive comments from the public. Anyone wish to address the board in regards to this item?
I do.
Sure, please come up to the mic.
Up to the microphone?
Sure.
Yes, I just really like to suggest that we would like to, I mean, I've been a citizen of Tiffany Park for 23 years, my husband for 53, and we really would like to see another, bid, because I just don't think it's right just to have one. I mean, not that we're putting down New Way, but there's been only one place since, I think, 1993, and I don't think it's fair that if there are no other bids and there's no competition, they can basically do what they want. And I talked, I posted it and got opinions, and there are a lot of people who really like New Way. They don't have a problem with New Way, but I just don't think it's fair. And there are other people who don't think it's fair and would like to see, another bid, another option, just to keep them alive.
Okay.
I think you want to speak on it too.
Yep.
I don't know that I want to speak.
He would just like recycling maybe every week.
I want to see, yeah,
Yeah.
we're living in a green
Right.
environment. I'm just looking forward to having recycle on a weekly basis instead of every other week. So that's my only thing. I think as a business, you'd be remiss to not go out for some bids just to see what's out there
Right.
and make sure that you're for people who charge competitive.
I know.
That's all I got.
Well, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
I was going to say the same thing about recycling. I had asked about that before. It's crazy that we don't recycle every week. I mean, almost everybody now has more recycling than we do garbage. We're trying to save our, whatever. So we should have it every week. I mean, last time it was like, well, you guys told me to get 2 bins. I don't want to have 2 recycling bins to, have in my garage. It takes up the space. We should have it every week. So I agree with that. And I also agree that we should put things out to bid. The problem is, just like we saw with the last time, we don't understand why you voted to go forward. It made no sense to us as the public, and I've yet to have anybody explain to me anything different, that you put out that bid to bid on our medical, on the workers' comp insurance, and we end up getting, it's gonna cost us a tax increase, I'm afraid. I'm concerned.
Right.
So that's why everybody, of course, every company puts everything out to bid. You should. Look at every single cost and where can you cut it. Everywhere. I agree, we should be doing that. If that's really what you're doing, okay? If you're just trying to do this to get somebody else to contract, please don't do it. This is ridiculous. This is a community of people and we gotta stop the nonsense. Again, in the paper I've read, this past weekend about fire chief, somebody who just got caught stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you understand why we come to you and ask you to do the right things over and over and over when we don't see it happening. So you should put it out to bid, absolutely. And if it goes again against it's almost ridiculous why we would make a change. Seriously, we need to take more action as a community.
Good evening.
Hi.
I really don't think it should go out for bid at all. You know, I've had the same company for the past 16 years. They're good guys, they do their job, they're on time. It's not really an issue. I don't think it's that big of a deal to put this on the table and have all these companies bid on it. Not to mention the fact, like they touched on, with this insurance thing, didn't matter how everybody felt about it. You guys pretty much did what you want. It seems like every time we open something up for bid, you guys are gonna pretty much do whatever you want. That being said, I'm satisfied with who I got now. I'm not interested in seeing any other changes for benefits or anybody that we don't even know. You know, I don't have any faith in you guys at this point. I don't think we need to be making all these changes and bringing all these different people in to do jobs that they've been done since what? Since, how long they had the contract? 23 years or something like that?
1993.
Yeah, you know what? They're doing just fine, and if they're not doing anything wrong, if it's not broke, why fix it? I do have something else that I wanted to address here, and it really doesn't have anything to do with it, so I don't agree with it. I think things are fine, but that's my opinion. Trustee Yonker, you're familiar with the Veterans Park project and the fiasco going on over there, right? As far as the flooding and...
In the past, yeah, I haven't been up to date on it.
Well, to bring everyone up to speed, real condensed version, roughly 3 years ago, the grass got real tall. They intentionally flooded the park because they wanted to see what kind of grass would grow. At least that's what the park district lets to believe. The park is on a bog, okay? Peat moss is like a sponge. They saturated this park to the point where right now the construction is in real shambles. They got problems because the water level's way up. But what I've noticed recently, and this is what's really scary, and the reason I'm bringing this to everyone's attention, this water level in this park, first, when the Army Corps of Engineers sent out their designation, it stopped at the water line. The second letter they sent out to us said it had complete jurisdiction. After seeing the soil samples, which I was following and taking samples of, that peat bog is completely under that whole park, okay? When you saturate it, the water goes outwards and it affects the areas around. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but there was a crack in my foundation that I fixed roughly 2 years ago, okay? It was a big gap in a piece of cement. I couldn't do anything with it, so I blasted it, fiberglassed it. The crack came back, and it's up to a ½ an inch. I can grind it down, and I can figure out how fat the original crack was, and I can figure out how far it's spread in the last 2 years. It's obvious it's accelerating. So I start looking around, and I noticed that the street's going down. I noticed my driveway's going down, cracks in the foundation all over the house. I'm like, it can't just be me. I go across the street to the guy across the street, right on the corner of the park. He said, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. He said, the corner of my house just fell off. He said, I don't know what the hell's going on here. It's always been fine. So he's like, I told him what my theory was. And he's like, you know what? He's like, you really could have something there. I go back across the street, mention it to the other neighbor. He's like, oh, you're crazy. We walked around, this is just an hour ago, walked around to his house, went to the corner of the house. The whole corner of the house fell off and was laying there in 2 pieces. There's something going on with that water retention. In the beginning, they said they were trying to drain the park as efficiently as he could, okay? At that point, the park was a big flat piece like this with a nice taper. It would flood and it would drain. Now they've torn it up, they put all these pipes in, spent millions of dollars with this real elaborate system with these trap valves. They put a berm around the whole park. Any water that leaves the park through the system can't come back in because the trap valves close it. You with me? When that water level comes up down that ditch, it goes under that street and it pounds this little storm sewer hole, pressurizes the system, and the water comes back through the storm system. In doing what they did, there's a real good chance that the street flooding is going to get really bad. I think we're going to have some foundation issues. I'm really concerned. This isn't just, I'm just trying to bring some light on this because no one probably realizes this is going on. This could be a huge problem. I don't want my property values going down because my foundation's crumbling. along with everyone else's. The main problem with this whole thing is the ditch on 160th place where the main water runs down. It starts at Tinley Creek, comes through 151st, all the way down, all this water collects, it builds up, comes into a big tube, right down the park line, goes under the street. Under the street, when you look, there's a little hole and an overflow. The overflow goes up the hill to the main cistern to get to 76th Avenue, uphill. Everything has to flood in order for it to go there, okay? This little hole that's getting pounded is a serious design flaw. I don't believe, I don't know if it's the Water Reclamation District's jurisdiction or whatever's going on here, but whatever's happening, now that the park's sealed off with valves, if that water comes in there again, it's gonna completely surround the park, and we're gonna have some real problems. The main thing is this ditch won't drain. They either have to run a line from the end of the ditch on 160th place, right to 76th Avenue, or they could dig down a couple streets, put a cistern in there, and tap it in over there, which is probably the smartest move. But in any case, these 3 streets consistently go underwater, and there's a lot of cracking going on. And we're talking, it's not just speculation. I can measure the crack, I can measure the other one and tell you just about how fast it's happening. And we gotta do something. Right now, they've got this wetland, which is the whole problem, is saturated and stacked up where they've got it taped off. They put a baseball field in, the new field, right field, center of it completely dead and underwater. And 5 will get you 10. The water level on the top of the wetlands out there, same water level. They're tampering with something that they really shouldn't have, and I think we got a real problem.
Can you leave your name with the, Lisa, can you get his name and the number, and we'll have it, the village engineer, John, we'll be in contact with you. We'll come out there and take a look, and we'll try to coordinate with the Park District, see what's going on.
I'm not trying to stir up trouble or
No,
raise flags or
no,
anything. It's-
no.
when stuff
I appreciate
starts
you making us
falling
aware of it.
apart, It's like, holy shit, what are we gonna do now? So,
Okay.
and that's basically it. But as far as the garbage thing, we really don't need that, do we? Yeah?
Let me
I
ask
mean,
you,
like you said, it hasn't been out to bid since 1993, so.
You know, every time something goes out to bid, it seems like we kind of get rear-ended. I mean, that seems to be the pattern here. It goes out to bid, and all of a sudden something happens, and wait a minute, the bill went up, and my service went down, and, you know, when does it stop? This insurance thing, it's unbelievable, the money we lost there. I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic with flooding a park and making it a wetland. You know what I was curious to? Maybe you can answer this? When you take a piece of property and you give it to the Army Corps of Engineers as wetland, is the state reimburse us, or does the federal government reimburse us? Is there money that comes in for that land becoming wetland?
I don't believe so.
See, I was trying to, I'm trying to figure out why they would do this. I mean, they gave away a third of the park. My first thought was, well, maybe now they don't have to cut the grass. It can't be that simple. They just don't want to cut the grass. But, now they've spent a lot of money on it. They've got real problems out
Sure.
there now.
Well, we'll have our engineer give you a call so you could go over the issues that you mentioned here tonight, and try to come up with a solution and talk to the Park District too, so. Appreciate you.
The garbage people are just fine.
Okay.
Good evening. I'd like to be in favor of the garbage contract going out for bid. Every municipality in the greater Chicagoland area that's gone out to bid in the last year and a half has had either an increase in service and or a reduction in price. I know New Way gives great service. It's a good company. Their employees are union, they're well paid, they do a good job. So as long as we look at other companies that are well-run, respectable, and have union employees, you'll get the same service. I guarantee you from personal experience, you may have a couple challenging days in the first week or two, but if it went to somebody else, they would do just as good a job. And there's no reason we shouldn't go out. We're 20% higher than the market right now. And we do have good service. We have take-all garbage, we have yard waste, twice a week or every week recycling. I'd be on the favor of, just for an environmental aspect, not going to weekly recycling, rather go with bigger containers. And odds are, if you talk to New Way, the contamination level of recycling is horrible. There's a lot of wishful recycling. They should have an education campaign to improve that. I know they run their own recycle center, but I also know it's overwhelmed with a lot of bad recycling. I've worked in the industry for 35 years, and we could do better than the contract we have now. We could have done better 26 years ago, too. We've suffered through this for 26 years. The village, the prior administration took away our ability to choose, and we've been hurt ever since financially. And I know you guys don't write the check, we write this check. And I'd be happy, there's a money-saving adventure to put the garbage bills on the water bills. A lot of communities do that. Takes the risk of bad debt away from the hauling company, and they're happy to do that. So if you want to cut costs, there's another option for you. And I'd be happy to help contribute however I can. There's much better ways for us to save money than let this just be renewed again. We've been getting screwed for 26 years. It's got to end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey guys, my name's Jay Hippema. I live at 17416 Valley View Drive. Just thank you guys for giving me a few minutes to speak my piece.
Jay, could you raise the
Sure.
microphone so we can hear you? There you go. Thank you.
Thanks. I think it would make sense. I agree with the other gentleman. I don't, I think New Way or Homewood or Tinley Park Disposal, I'm not really sure, I have a number of names, but I think they do a good job. But I think a lot of other companies out there as well, they do a good job. You don't hear other communities complaining about their garbage service. I think that there's a lot of companies out there that would really be interested in looking at giving a proposal to the city or the village of Tinley Park. I know just recently the city of Joliet went out for bid. I highly recommend speaking with them and talking to them about some of the benefits that they got from it. Their current hauler asked if they could renegotiate the contract, and it was only going to reduce their monthly cost to the residents by a few dollars. They were able to increase, by going out for bid, they were able to increase the services that they had. They also were able to reduce the cost by about $10 a month from where they currently were, which it's a big savings to a lot of the residents. But one of the biggest things that it does is that $10 goes back into our economy that can be spent around Tinley Park, can be spent around other areas that it didn't have before because it's going to the garbage company. So it just helps that money circulate right around here in town too. Other towns too, like Naperville, they just went out for bid a few years ago. They're actually in their process right now. They'd be a good one to talk to just to see what benefits they've gotten from it. And through some of those things, I just look at it as it doesn't hurt to put it out there just to see the kind of response that you get. There's a lot of things that happen in downtown Tinley that I think could be included into that bid to say, hey, we have these parades, we have these events, we have these other things, and I'm sure the current company provides some of those services, but I know like Lockport, they include their Lockport days. They get so many dumpsters, so many porta potties, so many containers that get included into the service. Those are all benefits that I don't know if Tinley Park is getting right now or not. I do know that Tinley Park pays for so many, they pay for their roll-off boxes, they pay for their street sweeping dump bill. I see that. I've seen a couple of those bills, they're quite high, but I think they can be included in a bid that could benefit the village greatly. So I just think, I'm not, nothing wrong with the company. I just think that it would make sense just to see what other benefits you guys can get, or the village, we all could get from the contract going out for bid. But I strongly urge you to talk to some of these communities that have gone recently out for proposals, even Moreland Park just recently, and they reduced their bill by 10%. It's worthwhile just to look at for the people's sake. So, thank you guys.
Thanks. There's no other questions or comments? You got a comment?
Good evening. I just have a couple quick points. You said something about adding townhomes into the equation for garbage.
Yeah, or allow them to opt in if they want to get it on.
Well, that's 10% of my budget that I have to deal with every year. My budget, I spend $30,000 a year with New Way. So I got no problems with New Way because they can always add extra charges for extra stuff that people put out there. But in 7 years I've been on the board of directors, I haven't seen an extra charge yet. And
Yeah, it's just given the option, because we've had a couple associations that have contacted me saying they would like to get in on the village garbage service. So it'd just be something that we'd look at if they would like to opt into it if it was there. So it's not going to force anybody to
well,
get in.
I'd like
Force
the
everybody else.
So,
I'd like the option, if it comes to that, and so I can give you my name and information later. Second thing is, with the water bills, why is it that the water meters are red like the first week of July? But the statements always say August 1st. You know, why is it that the water bills, when they come out, say the date your meter was red? You know, just a small timeline, because it seems like, you know, dealing with the Townhouse Association, okay, I figure I turn the water on now for the sprinkler system. Okay, I only use it for a month. Then I find out that they actually read the meter on July 5th. But the bills are all dated, you know, the billing cycle is, you know, April or May 1st through July 31st. Why is it that, at least give me an idea, even with my own personal bill, I'd like to know when the meter is red. So you can actually look at it and say, okay, this is when it's red, not some 3-week time frame down the road where it's not a real cycle, because you're saying the cycle ended July 31st, but your meter was actually red on July 5th. So, and lastly, Mr. Yonker, I've been dealing with Paula for the last 9 weeks on this issue. Eamon Malone, over by the new apartment complex that they're gonna start building, he poured curbs and sidewalks. He has yet to finish the job. Does it normally take 10 weeks for somebody to come back and backfill the excavations for the sidewalks and for the curb work?
John, you know anything about on that? No.
We can find
We'll
out if
look
we
into
get the
it.
gentleman's name and number.
Paul has been
So-
dealing with this for the last 10 weeks, because normally when the city comes out and does sidewalks, within a week after it's poured, it's backfilled, grass is planted, or seed is planted, and it's done. This is going on 10 weeks now. It's a public safety hazard. There's you know, gaps in between the curb and the street. There's gaps between the sidewalk and the grass. And I just think that, you know, some people in the city get away with murder. Even Malone is one of them. Oh, we're just finishing up another job. Well, you shouldn't have started that other job until you finished this one. It's a small project, and it just seems like every week I got to email Paula about this issue, and half the time she doesn't get an answer from Malone. Sometimes, you know, he's out of the country, you know, but it's just going on and on and on. 10 weeks is more than enough time to finish the job.
Okay. Well, if someone get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not to, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call the Community Development Committee to order. I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of the minutes of the Community Development Committee meeting held on July 10th, 2018. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Number 3, discuss licensing agreement with the Banging Gavel. Attorney Pat?
Yep, thanks, Trustee Yonker. I'm sure as you recall, in 2017, the village entered into an incentive agreement with the Banging Gavel, which is on the, which is going to be the new food and drink establishment at the old Vogt Historical Building. As part of the agreement, there were some land swaps that occurred to better serve what the Banging Gavel needed to get their operation up and running, and what the village would need for parking and things of that nature. However, as the plats came in and the final plans were being done, the planning department realized that certain of the site improvements would encroach onto the village property, some ADA ramps, possibly a deck in the back, and a garbage enclosure. We looked at a number of different options to get the property over to Banging Gavel that they needed. At this time, based on their financing and the remainder of the project, they didn't want to buy these slivers from the village. So what we came up with was a license agreement, short-term license agreement with a max time frame of 5 years. This agreement would allow them to construct their plan with all the necessary ADA ramps and garbage enclosures and things of that nature. Some of that would encroach onto village property. This agreement would provide insurance for the village for those encroachments, and also strong indemnity in case there were ever any liability incidents. The Banging Gavel staff has agreed to this, So at this point, we think this is the best fix in order to keep that project going. In the future, hopefully before this 5-year runs, but no later than 5 years, the idea would be to actually sell them, carve out those slivers and sell it to them. If you guys are good with this, it'll be on your next agenda for approval.
Make a motion to put this on the next agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Receive comments from the public in regards to this?
Is that a 5-year agreement to pay it back? What is the agreement? To pay it back? That 5-year agreement with Bank and Gavel?
To pay, I didn't say to pay it back.
So what is the 5?
It's a license.
Give them this land.
We're not gonna give them the land. Right now, they're allowed to build those encroachment that are specified in the agreement. It's a garbage enclosure, ADA accessibility ramp. I believe part of their south deck would be built onto village property. Okay, and in change of that, there would be indemnity, village insurance. The idea for them, it's only a 5-year license agreement. A lot of them go 99 years, forever. The idea is for them to actually buy that property, during the term of this agreement, but no later than 5 years.
So they would be purchasing it back?
The property, yeah. So not back, but those portions of the village property where what they need, we'd carve out, deed out the little strips and actually get them the full
So we would have a
property.
value on that property? And then
We would have a value on that.
purchase it from the
We
village?
would have a value on that
And
property.
they have to have it done in 5 years?
That's the length of this agreement, yes.
So they would pay us back in 5 years?
I wouldn't call it pay us back, but they would have to, we're not giving them any money, so it wouldn't be a payback, but they would have.
We're selling them the land?
We're not selling them the land. Not right now. So we're giving them a license, basically permission to build onto our land, encroach onto our land. I guess it's probably just semantics, but, so it wouldn't be them paying it back, but they would purchase the land no later than 5 years. So I guess
They're not going to pay us for that land?
when they purchase it, they will. So I guess it's not paying us back, but there will be a purchase at some point, correct?
Right. Okay, so they're going to be paying us for the land, and it would have to be paid up in 5 years?
Yes.
Okay, and if they didn't make it in 5 years, and they decided to sell it or something else, what would happen?
They're not going to be able to have those encroachments onto the village property.
So we would have a lien on that property for the value?
We wouldn't have a
of it?
lien. We can tell them that they're not going to, get off the property, essentially. I mean, so they.
If they just walk away from it, we would get nothing from it. I mean, there's nothing to
True.
be in agreement that we would ever, we would want them to put a lien on? Wouldn't we want to have it so we would get our money back, or?
We're not spending any money, so there's no money to get back. We could look at a lien. I
It's
mean,
property, but is it a tiny little space? Is it a big, how much value of the property we talking?
less than $10,000. Maybe $7,000, I want to say.
Motion to adjourn the committee meeting for community
Second.
development? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. This time, I'd like to open up the public safety meeting. 6:58. Consider the approval of the minutes of the Public Safety Committee meeting held on June 12th, 2018. May I get a motion?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So approved. I'd like to get receive an update on the fire station, Fire Station 47 construction. Is that you, Pat? No, John, okay.
Yes, sir, thank you. As we have been working on our planning for the future construction of the fire station building, I present to you a preliminary budget that has been based on the sketches as you see in your packet. We have looked at the design of the station, similar to another station that FGM has been the architect for, with some of the requests of the fire department and the subcommittee that has been working on the design of the station. Again, you can see those layouts in the attached packet. And with the current preliminary budget, we came up to a base dollar amount on the front tabular format here, which is in the range of $6 million. Getting that rough estimate budget, we started to collectively look at possibilities for budget savings on some of the initial caveats we've been looking at. There are I believe seven options that we looked at here with alternates, and the decision as a group was made to remove option 1, which is 3 of the bifold style doors, and go with the traditional roll-up door. And then removing option 7, which is the temporary structure that would be designed to house the apparatus and manpower during the time of construction, which would give us approximately a $325,000 savings to the construction. I'm looking for your approval on the budget as presented, again, as a rough draft to the project right now. We're strictly working off of these options as shown. And then obviously the budget would get tightened up as we start getting into the more additional, refined contract and drawings for the construction of the facility.
John, has there been any thought given to where we would put the men and women and equipment during this time?
I would refer to Assistant Chief, or Deputy Chief, Klatz here for that. That's an operational decision that would go along there.
Yes, we have. We have actually have been working on an alternate response program for the 2 engine and the ambulance that is currently there. We've been actually working along with Orland, some conversation with possibly providing a little bit more mutual aid, assisting in that area, with us still coming in to keep the response times down to where we need them to be. We've been also talking with some other fire departments that have recently done this, and they've moved out of their station into a different station, and there's options that we're exploring right now too, such as during the day putting them in temporary buildings in that station 47 area to keep the response times down. So we're researching a lot of different options, which that has been done in this type of construction phase. It's not an easy thing when you're taking people out of the building and equipment, having to look for about a year, I think, this
Right.
probably be. But we do have definitely some options that will probably keep us in our standard response time. So.
Okay, great.
Bill, just most recently, Blackport is the one that actually they have to.
Right, I visited that station and saw it.
Station, and they moved into a different station, but during the daytime, they kept apparatus strategically placed in the area that the construction was going on, so they could deploy in response.
Wouldn't change, right. Okay.
Brad, are we all good with the numbers then for the funding for this?
That's right. No, we have a lot to discuss.
Okay.
And then Trustee Younker and Trustee Brady, remember that as part of the Wegman contract, the way we set it up, they have to come back to the board with with their maximum price for what the project will cost.
Right.
I don't think we're there yet,
No.
John. I think that's more as specs start getting drawn and things like that, and they have a better idea, but that will come back before the board, the final cost.
Yeah, the guaranteed maximum price will be delivered, but again, we keep giving these updates because we hit a stopping point. We don't want to put the architect to task for designing a station and then find out that, it's above the allowed funding. So that's where we're, giving these options to the committee and board here so we can continue to move forward. If, if we determine that this amount of savings isn't sufficient, or, we don't have approval for the rough draft of expenditures here, again, I don't want to task the architect with designing a station that essentially we can't afford to construct in the first place.
If we have to have more further discussion on this,
Well,
then.
I think to tie this all together, I think what we're asking now is that, the staff has made some recommendations because of the cost to eliminate the temporary building and the overhead doors from the budget at this point. Obviously, as John was saying, they've got to start the design phase. Eventually, this will go to bid and we'll have better numbers. But I think, to get to the next step, we're looking for some direction to move forward with that design. Brad has, raised the issue. Certainly, we still have to have discussion with the board. Are we paying for these through reserves, the bond issue? I will tell you, related to that, one of the things that we're doing differently this year in the budget process is we're actually doing our capital budget now. as opposed to in the winter. So I think once we kind of get through that process over the next few months, we'll be able to come back to you and say, look, the fire station may have to be done by debt service along with some other projects. But I think at this point, I mean, if the committee is okay, I think, with proceeding with the design per the staff recommendation, that would be the next step we'd like to take. And again, as the village attorney said, ultimately, the final approval is going to be with the Wegman design, but I think to move forward, that's what we're looking for.
So I mean, if the architects designs the basement, the costs come in too high, we could always remove the basement, correct?
We invited the architect here if you'd like to ask him any direct questions in regards to design and construction and cost.
Sure.
Stresses.
I think as far as if the basement's included in the station now, then I mean, if the costs come in and overruns and what have you, I mean, we could always you could always take that out of the.
It does change the overall design because the foundations, the first floor, there's a lot of time and money spent in that aspect. If we were to bid those as alternates, obviously that's not what we intended to do initially. We were trying to build a one-bid project to keep things efficient and economical for the village. So if it were to come in at that point, it could be rebid, but it does take another step process if the dollars do come over at that point. We're trying to minimize that scrambling mode at that point and make sure that we are trying to hit a budget that's real.
Okay. Where are we at, like, as far as design time? And I mean, being that we're in September already, we're probably not looking until spring to break ground.
Correct. We're still, and I'm speaking a little bit out of turn a little bit, but I believe we're still looking to try to bid in January, beginning of the year.
Okay.
I believe. And in that aspect, it's the best time for bidding when you have contractors that may not be busy, obviously, because of the weather, but being able to break ground in spring is appropriate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with the proceeding forward here. Do you have any questions?
No. Make the motion?
I think you guys just need a direct action.
Give the direction, that's fine.
Right.
I think you have your direction.
You've got the direction.
The direction is move forward with the recommendation.
Yes, with the recommendations,
Cost reductions.
number 1 and number 7. Okay, item number 4, discuss the civil engineering contract with Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited for the Fire Station 47 construction. Is that tied up into that all at the same time?
I think, John,
Go ahead, John.
Yes, sir. Thank you again. Yes, this is tied into the construction also, but it is a separate contract with Christopher Burke Engineering. This is the engineer that we previously approved as our general design and construction engineering service for the village. This contract with them is set for all the civil engineering requirements for the construction of the station. It'll include topography design, any coordination with our utilities, any watershed management, which we've already begun with MWRD, and then the preparation for any of the other regulatory departments required to construct this station on site. The contract is at a cost of $82,100 for start to finish of the construction of the station, and we're just asking for committee approval to forward onto board for approval for this project.
Make a motion to approve the Christopher Burke engineering contract for Fire Station 47.
Second? Okay.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so approved. Item 5, receive comments from the public. Any comments from the public on this particular item?
David, is this $6 million, is this already in the budget? I mean, do we already have that budgeted?
What exactly do we have in the budget? It's,
No.
No.
not the, it's,
Not the
well,
entire amount. We
it's-
have
it
some-
was,
we have
it was
some.
expected to be over 2 years, so we
That's
don't.
like, do you guys calculate that gets spread over how many years? I mean, that's.
It's in the 5-year capital budget. We don't know that, we'll get you the number.
But you
Yeah.
get enough in there, okay. And I
Well,
don't
no, we do
really
have-
know this.
We have money in the budget, not for the full project, but we have money to get
Do you
started.
know how much?
I don't know off the top of my
We'll
head.
get-
It's in the
yeah.
budget. It's in the budget.
Yes,
Ask
yeah.
if you guys remember to send me
Yes,
an email.
no problem.
I appreciate it. Because we all know how I feel about, we need some policemen. We have to find that money. And I don't know what the issue is with the firehouse, I really don't. And you guys should have good quarters too, I mean, you really should. I don't know what the situation is, but lawsuits cost a lot of money for this village. And and we're gonna have to rethink things. And maybe it's not the right year for this. Maybe can you do something, make a bathroom? I don't even know what the issues are, but we need police. 13 short, we all know it. I don't even know what it's up to now with retirements, but it has to be found, right? I'm just saying, we gotta figure out things. This is a lot of money, and I want you guys to have, really do want you to have right stuff. You gotta make the right choices. This insurance, I'm sure is gonna raise my taxes. Bad decision. And I don't know, we have to get the police on the streets, right? I mean, we all agreed that that was gonna happen. We put in that in the budget. I mean, I know this isn't the right meeting. No, this is the right meeting.
Yes, sir.
Brady, what are we doing with that? Where are we with staffing of the police?
Well, obviously, we have a new police chief, so we're trying to bring him up to speed, and he knows about the study and the retirements.
And everything as quickly as possible? We have anything in the budget?
We're
for
trying
next year?
to. The deputy chief has been filling them in, working at meetings as much as they can to bring them up to speed, absolutely.
We do have positions this year, and then our next budget, of course, starts May 1st, and so the goal would be to add additional during that time, and that, what I was talking about earlier is right now what we're focusing on is the capital budget, trying to get kind of the big stuff out of the way first, but the operational, we'll certainly be looking at, again, we want to consult with the new chief, and but we certainly would be looking at as part of the operational budget for the next year's budget, which starts May 1st next year.
Yeah, and I certainly hope we can figure that out. We're doing so many good things with all these new developments coming in, with all these new people that are gonna be coming into our community and wanting to be safe. They deserve to be safe. You guys did a study and you reported back that we are 13 short from being really safe. Surrounding, being able to patrol our streets 30 minutes, that's not happening. And I'm gonna be honest, I see less and less. We need to fix our staffing, or somebody needs to convince the rest of us that we really don't need that staffing, because we did everything, you guys told us you're gonna do the study, it proved it, and I don't see anything happening on it. You gotta figure it out. I get it, you guys need a new facility. I don't know what the situation is. Is it crumbling around you? I don't know what it is, but if that's the most important, we gotta figure that out too, but you guys are.
Any other comments? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.